Вот там. Ёб твою мать.
President Volodymyr Zelensky delivered a message that sounded less like diplomacy and more like a warning shot heard across the battlefield. If Russia isn't serious about peace and chooses instead to prolong its brutal war, Ukraine will respond logically by dismantling Russia's capacity to continue it. In Miami and across Western capitals, Ukraine has pushed hard on a negotiated end to the conflict, with new draft documents on security guarantees and peace frameworks discussed with U.S. officials and allies. These talks aim to bind Russia into a settlement that ends the fighting. Progress has been reported, and Kyiv says several agreements are now prepared after months of diplomacy. President Volodymyr Zelensky delivered a message that sounded less like diplomacy and more like a warning shot heard across the battlefield. If Russia isn't serious about peace and chooses instead to prolong its brutal war, Ukraine will respond logically by dismantling Russia's capacity to continue it. In Miami and across Western capitals, Ukraine has pushed hard on a negotiated end to the conflict, with new draft documents on security guarantees and peace frameworks discussed with U.S. officials and allies. These talks aim to bind Russia into a settlement that ends the fighting. Progress has been reported, and Kyiv says several agreements are now prepared after months of diplomacy. What Zelensky's statement makes clear is this: Ukraine will not be passive. If Russia elects to drag this war out, Kyiv's response won't be measured in words, but in force. Zelensky stressed that Russian attacks have intensified, but so have their losses, and Ukraine will keep up that pace. Air defenses are being fortified, frontline coverage strengthened, and leadership structures reshaped to ensure Ukraine can sustain and escalate its defense. This isn't saber-rattling for drama. It's a strategic declaration. Negotiations must lead somewhere real, or the cost for Russia will only climb. In Zelensky's calculus, peace comes only after pressure breaks the will and capability to wage war. And if that means pushing back harder until Russia can't continue, Ukraine is ready to do precisely that. Last night, Budyonnovsk did not sleep. The city in Russia's Stavropol Krai was shaken by a chain of explosions that rolled through the darkness for nearly 20 minutes. Residents counted roughly 10 blasts, one after another, followed by the unmistakable glow of a large fire rising from an industrial district. Sirens wailed, windows rattled, and the illusion of distance from the war evaporated. Preliminary reports point to a drone strike, with Russian air defenses scrambling to respond but failing to stop the impact. The target, according to multiple sources, was the Stavrolen petrochemical plant, a facility that sits quietly on paper but loudly inside Russia's war economy. By morning, flames were confirmed at an industrial site, though officials carefully avoided naming what was hit. Stavrolen is not just another factory. It operates a full hydrocarbon processing cycle and produces polymers essential for composite materials, structural components, seals, and insulation. These are not abstract products. They are the building blocks of modern warfare. Polyethylene from plants like this ends up insulating wires, protecting electronics, and forming casings inside drones, missiles, and electronic warfare systems. Even UAV components trace back to this supply chain. Eyewitness videos from the scene show fire and chaos, a rare glimpse inside the Russian rear as it absorbs the same pressure long felt on the front. Authorities insist there were no casualties, but the silence around the exact target speaks louder than any statement. This strike follows a clear logic. Ukraine is no longer only contesting trenches and tree lines. It is reaching into the industrial arteries that keep Russian weapons flying and rolling. Facilities labeled civilian are being exposed for what they truly are: dual-use engines of war. Budyonnovsk burned last night not because it is symbolic, but because it matters. And the message carried by those explosions was simple. The deeper the war goes on, the less safe Russia's industrial heartland becomes. A previous strike by Ukrainian drones on this Russian facility took place on the night of November 12th. At that time, a fire also broke out on the plant's premises. This is robotic warfare. For 45 straight days, a single ground drone from Ukraine's 3rd Assault Brigade held the line where infantry once stood. No trenches, no rotation, no fatigue. Just steel, sensors, and a heavy machine gun. Remotely operated from cover, the dev droid TW-12.7 suppressed enemy movement with constant, precise fire, locking down the position day and night. The result was simple and brutal. The line held, the enemy stalled, and not a single Ukrainian soldier was lost. This is what the future of war looks like, and it's already here. Reuters reports that a resident of South Africa, Duband Lely, was promised elite VIP security training in Russia for his 20-year-old son. Instead, the young man ended up in trenches in the Donetsk region. The father claims that his son and at least 16 other South Africans became victims of a recruitment scam and were sent to the front line. Russian Urals oil prices have plunged to around $34 a barrel as steep discounts tied to U.S. sanctions hit demand, according to Bloomberg and Argus Media. Baltic and Black Sea grades are trading well below Brent, which remains near $61, showing the gap in pricing. Another great story. 2 warriors of Ukraine's 93rd Brigade held a position near Rusin Yar in Donetsk region against terrorist forces for 130 days. Caption says they managed to capture a Russian who stayed with them for 2.5 months, helping to build defenses.
Make sure you're protected! Make sure you're protected!
Hi there, good health.
We wish you all good health, my esteemed gentlemen.
What's up with the guys?
Intact and healthy.
You guys are awesome.
It's so cold in here. I'm absolutely freezing to death, Dimmy.
Could you tell me how long were you at the positions in total?
It has been 30 days. Today, perhaps the very first ones have come back. We have managed to achieve so much. We are incredibly proud of all our efforts and will continue to push ahead.
It's scary. It was the very first time. The initial contact is scary, but then, yes, the first time, and then it's just routine.
I found it quite enjoyable. One could certainly put it that way. It's always better when you're the one doing the shooting and not the one being shot at. It's definitely more pleasant.
But everything was going so well. The provision of everything was truly excellent. May God grant that it continues.
They really took such good care of us. We were given very warm clothes, food, everything we could possibly need was provided, and even all our medicines.
We worked and we plotted, we had provisions, everything was there. We worked, we dug with all our might, but that's how it turned out. They dismantled our house where we were serving. But it's good that we really dug deep and put in the effort and even managed to survive. We even made it to a full 300.
I see you have a trophy weapon, right?
It's so covered, completely covered with mines all over the place.
Show it to me.
Here is the 12th one.
It's the 12th one.
Why didn't he say he was good? 7, 6, and 2 are better. A 5 is just mediocre, really.
And tell us about the contact when you were the very first and how many there were in total.
7. Yes, 7. 7 enemies we laid down right by our own house.
Have you spoken with your relatives at all? Maybe someone has?
So, we were transmitting our greetings, we were recording a voice message, and we heard it clearly over the radio, and...
Warm greetings to you all. I'm just letting you know I'll be back home very, very soon. I've been missing you all so incredibly much, and I truly love you all so very much. You'll know absolutely everything, I promise.
Mom didn't even know you were a chicken.
Hello, Mom. Mom, it's me.
My dear little son, hello, my beautiful full moon.
He's alive, he's well, and he's intact.
Love you, son.
Congratulations on the victory. All right, I'll see you later this evening.
My dear son, this is absolutely the best thing I could have done today.
Come on. Hello, hi, my darling.
Hello.
Well, guys, we won't hold you up. Thank you very much for your service. Glory to Ukraine.
Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe. Also, if you want to support Warthog Defense, please become our member and get early access to new videos, exclusive members-only videos, and become administrator in comment section. The membership link is in the description.
Every day. We had a guy last week, it's 6 rescues in 6 days. You know, he's doing the job every day.